Well, welcome back, everybody, to the next session. And before we begin, I just wanted to quickly remind everybody. At the moment, we've got a competition going around with HRX, where you actually get to win a race suit. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to our website and click on the virtual agenda page, and then scroll down, and you'll see the HRX UK link. Click on that. Design your race suit. It's very simple. How you want it to look. Hit save, and then chuck that onto our Motorsport Days Facebook page. And then on Saturday at 2 o'clock, we will then announce a winner, and that will be presented by the guys at HRX, but also Creasy, the touring car driver. He will choose somebody on there. So a prize well worth having for when you get racing next year. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Ben Tuck. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Well, I've been quite lucky to kind of witness a lot of your motorsport career, and none more so than over the last couple of weeks. You had the DTM trophy. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so DTM Trophy, it was the first year for the championship, running GT4 cars, but supporting the DTM. So we were always sort of one race just after the DTM on those weekends. Awesome. It would have been amazing with fans and the big event, but even just being there in the paddock with DTM teams, that was something special. So I was running in BMW M4 GT4, which is the same car that I've been racing for the last couple of years. So it was nice and familiar for me, and it didn't go too badly.
No, definitely. We've actually got a picture of you holding the trophy there. But you've had some real tough battles this year with the likes of the Mercedes team. Kind of talk us through some of those.
Yeah, so yeah, that picture there, that's the third place trophy for the championship. So yeah, really happy to finish in the top three of the championship. But number one and number two in the championship were both Mercedes. So I don't want to get too political, but it was for me it was fairly clear which was the most which was the strongest car this year. But third place, I'm still very happy about that, and obviously then the highest placed BMW driver. So that was the main aim. If you ask me after the first race, do you want to win this championship? Everyone on the grid is going to say yes. But after a couple of races, I think we then started to manage our expectations and set achievable goals. And that's really where third place in the championship came from, because it would have been easy to chuck it away even more.
Fantastic. Well, as you mentioned earlier, the BMW, you're quite tuned in on that. So talk us through the car, the M4.
Yeah, so it's obviously the GT4 version, very similar to the road car. It's got the same engine and drivetrain. Then once obviously you're heading to the track, it's built from the factory from BMW Motorsport. But there are some similarities with the road car. But one thing that I love about that car is the sort of the low range torque. You see a lot of race cars where you have to really rev the nuts off it before you change gear, but the BMW is quite easy actually. You can leave it in a slightly higher gear and still get a nice pull out of the corner.
Oh, fantastic. You've raced in the British GT on and off over the last few years. What would you say has been your best race there?
Out of any of them in British GT, out of all my races?
I've had a few.
Yeah.
I remember one at Donington, up and down race, but
there's a couple. I would definitely pick the ones from 2018, which was the year that I did the full year rather than just one or two races. And obviously Snetterton race 2 in that year was when we took the first win for the BMW M4 in Europe under a customer team. So it was the first time that a non-factory team had won a race with the M4 in Europe. That was pretty cool. But honestly, there was another race that year that I think it felt even like more of an achievement, and it was Brands Hatch. The race at Brands Hatch, we were leading, I think, for the whole race, and then a safety car came out just before the pit stop. So everyone that was a Pro-Am entry had less of a pit stop time, because they said compared to two silver drivers, you're going to be the first stint is more likely going to be slower if you're an AM driver. So that's fair enough. You can have less time in the pits. But then that means if there's a safety car just before the pit stop, it means everyone who was not an AM is then messed up after the pit stop. But that race, in my stint, then came back to finish second. And I think I came out of the pits in 7th or something like that. But I don't know, that for that race around Brands Hatch, around that track, I enjoy the track more than Snetterton as well. I don't know, that felt like that was a better performance than the win at Snetterton. If that makes sense in a weird way.
No, it does. It does. Yeah. Well, to be honest, I imagine every single one of them is pretty thrilling anyway, and probably none more so than when you get to race at the Green Hell. What is that like? That must just be terrifying every corner, let alone every lap.
Yeah. So I get this question all the time, and I still haven't figured out a proper answer for it. You know, what does it feel like? Or it's so hard to describe. It is just crazy. When the first time you go there, even if you're just doing like the tourist laps, which is when you can drive your own car around, it's like, wow, this place is mad. But then when you're actually racing on it and you see GT3 cars going 3 wide and overtaking a back marker around the outside of a nearly flat out corner, but it's a blind crest, you don't know what's on the other side, and you just think, what is going on here? Okay, right, need to readjust the mindset and get used to this place. It really is. It's a different driving style compared to any other track I've been to as well. You know, it's not just a long track and it's not just a bit scary. It is a completely different driving style anyway, just from the way that the track is. So it is a massive shift in mindset to race around there compared to any other track that I've been to.
I can imagine. Well, kind of shifting away to a slightly different car, you drove the Ginetta G57, and again had another bit of silverware to add to your collection on there. Tell us about that. That must have been quite up there with some of the best cars you've driven.
Yeah, I think that is still the fastest car I've driven so far in my career. That was the end of 2017, so this was before my year in British GT. But that's kind of actually how it started. That's quite a nice link in, actually. So in halfway through 2017, I was racing in the Caterham Supersport Championship. For one thing or another, it wasn't going too well. So we ended up cutting it short halfway through the year and deciding to try and focus on getting into GT racing. So with the team that I was racing with in Caterham's, we did a race in GT Cup. And that was in a Ginetta. And from that, I then got a test day with Ginetta in the G57, and then off the back of that went to Spa with them, and that was actually racing in the Ginetta G57 at Spa, which is my favorite track anyway, with I think it was with Simpson Motorsport, and in the 24-hour series, the Proto series, so kind of a sidestep from the 24-hour series, 2 5-hour races, and we managed to win both of them. And that was in my first time racing in that car. I'd managed to do one test day before then, so I can't completely claim that it was my first time. But that was a really special weekend. Yeah, Spa, fastest car I've ever driven, win both the races. That you literally can't get any better than that. So that was a really cool time as well.
Good stuff. Well, look, we haven't got that exact footage, but I actually got a video of you doing a track guide for us around Spa. So that ties in quite nicely. So if we could play that video now.
Mm-hmm. So welcome to Spa with me, Ben Tuck, in the BMW M4 GT4, run by Century Motorsport in the British GT Championship. So we're just coming up to start a lap now. We've got a few cars ahead of us, so we'll see if we can get past them on this lap. Running up to turn 1, La Source, heavy braking zone, left foot braking, down to second gear, tight apex, let it run out on the exit, careful not to run too wide. Now we're running down the hill towards Eau Rouge, possibly one of the most famous corners in the world. Always a great feeling when you hook it up nicely. So up to 5th gear, over the curb on the left, little bit of a lift halfway up, over the curb at Radion at the top, bouncing over the curb, and now we're trying to get in the slipstream with the car in front all the way down the long camel straight. You've got a long time to think about it now, all the way down the straight. Never seems ending, especially in the GT4 car. Braking hard now for Lacombe, a little bit of curb on the inside, and again through the left. Don't usually want to use this curb on the right, actually made a little bit of a mistake here. And then again, use all the exit on the left. Thinking about trying to get past this Mercedes now. Hopefully he makes a mistake, and he does, that was nice. We'll send it up the inside here. Careful on the exit not to run him too wide. Now the unnamed left-hander Don't want to turn in too early because again you'll run too wide on the exit. Now we've got the run back down the hill towards Pouhon. Really, really fast corner. One that draws you in, always makes you feel like you can go faster in, but then you end up running too wide mid-corner and then flat on the power through the second half of the corner. Got a few more cars to get past here, so we'll send them up the inside. Nice and easy with the direction change, you don't want to be too aggressive on the power. And again, nice and smooth on the power on the way out. Coming over to the left-hand side, again, hard braking, nice late turn. And back on the power. The exit here is really important because this judges your speed all the way up the hill towards Blanchemont. And again, we've got another car in front of us. We're trying to get in the slipstream. Another fairly long straight, so just taking it easy. Trying not to overthink anything. Coming up to the last few corners of the track. Just a small lift through Blanchemont, back on the power. Not too much curb on the exit. Set yourself up for the chicane. Really hard braking. Come right up to this McLaren. Late turn for the first part, and then smooth on the power for the second part. And that was a lap of Spa.
I mean, absolutely committed that lap, I would say. How much of a joy then? So that's your best, your favourite circuit in a car that you're absolutely dialed in on.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed a second.
Sorry, that's right. So it's a car that you're. That's right. No worries. So it's a car that you're absolutely dialed in on. So you're pretty much at home in that on your favourite track.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Again, it's one of those things that I can't really describe that feeling it gives me when I'm driving around and when I head to Spa in any car. I don't know. I said this to my dad, and I said, I don't want this to sound a bit too like giddy, but every time I head to Spa on my first lap, I literally can't stop smiling. I don't know what it is. I go out the pits. You know, usually then you're on the inside full of sauce and you go down to Eau Rouge. So the first corner that you come to actually on the track after coming out the pits is Eau Rouge, and it's just. Oh, Eau Rouge and Raidillon, you know, people want to get technical, but it's just a feeling that I can't really describe it. There's just an aura about the place. There's just a feeling I get every time I go there, and it's unlike any other track. And it's just, I can't really tell you the exact reason why it's my favorite track. It just is. There's definitely a flow to it. You know, I can try and describe it. There's a flow to it that if you get dialed in, like you say, you really feel like you're part of the track with it, compared to other tracks when you know that you're just driving fast around it. But other than that, I really can't describe it. It's just, if you haven't been there, you have to go.
Definitely, yeah. Well, certainly good advice. So what does 2021 hold for you then, Ben?
At the moment, I'm not too sure. I can't say too much. You know, it would be nice to stay with the team that I'm with now, Walken Horse Motorsport. It would be nice to stay with BMW. We will see. There one or two things that we're trying and we're looking at, but yeah, unfortunately at the moment I can't give too much away.
No, that's fair enough. Well, look, I really appreciate your time. We wish you all the best with the racing, whatever comes your way next year. But just one last piece. Have you got any advice for anybody that is new coming into the sport? Yeah,
I would definitely say that don't underlook getting a coach or, you know, asking for advice from anyone. That was the biggest thing that I found when I was starting, is that, you know, me and my dad started out. We did a couple of races in Mazdas, and, you know, I'd come from karting. You know, I know how to drive. I know what I'm doing. The team suggested that I get a coach for one day, and I've never looked back. That really is what completely, you know, got me set into driving, was actually having someone just give me a couple of tips every now and then. So I would definitely say, don't be afraid to ask for help. You're not silly.
No, definitely wise words. Well, look, again, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, Ben, and filling us in on what's happened, and obviously potentially what the future will bring.